Morning, Coach.
How you doing?
I'm all right. How you doing? Good. If you could go back to Sunday, and we all know.
And change it all?
Yeah, that's the question. Yeah.
No.
No. We all know hindsight's 20/20, but I'm just wondering, would you do anything differently on Sunday?
Absolutely. Use the challenge flag earlier, call a timeout, check on the guys more, during the game, say something differently. I don't know. Yeah, those kind of things for sure. Yeah.
Specifically wondering actually about Zach, because he talked to us on Tuesday talking about how he really detailed like the internal debate he had with himself on the sideline was he going to actually be hurting the team by going back in, and said he tried to be as honest as he could with yourself and Buck, and then said that you had still said, yeah, go ahead. So I'm just wondering, would you still do that all over again, just seeing the way that played out with him? Would you still send him back out there?
Yeah, absolutely. That's when you ask me that, that's not even something I've really thought about. First of all, that internal debate is what makes Zach a great teammate and a great leader. He's always trying to put the team first. Then the second part of that is watching him throw. Well, he's the best, right? And then watching him throw, I thought, hey, yep, this is something he's going to be able to work with. And then thirdly, he absolutely deserves every opportunity to lead this team. So, from what I saw and from just chatting with him very briefly, I felt really comfortable with that. I didn't think it was going to be easy, but I thought it's Zach. So
yeah. Did it surprise you though when it goes? I think it's 3 straight interceptions though. Like, I mean, is that kind of, I don't know, a shock to you on the sideline? Just like, okay, well maybe he is even worse than maybe I thought he was.
Yeah, I thought one of them he got rid of the ball. I thought it was a good ball. Defensive player made a good play. One slipped right out of his hand, I don't know if it got tipped or not, but one slipped out of his hand, I thought. You got to give him that opportunity.
Another big question circulating right now, we talked to Brady on Tuesday, and he was still kind of confused at the time as to why before things kind of started to unravel, he had, I think it was 9 touches before things started to unravel for you guys. And, thinking about the guy who had just won MOC the couple days earlier, was expecting to be leaned upon to win. You guys have leaned upon him to win all season, and then he's kind of used maybe questionably in a questionable amount. So I'm just wondering, would you give him the ball more? I'm saying, do you wish you had given him the ball more on Sunday?
I think you're suggesting that it wasn't called enough, if that's what you're suggesting. But the runs, we're called about 17 or 18 runs. One starts off with a procedure penalty in the first, and then 6 of those get pulled because there's X number of guys in the box, or the read says this is not a run play anymore. This is now a pass play. So you call that many runs, and then a pile of them get pulled because of the structure of the defense. So, I mean, that's okay with me at that point. You got to make a decision and live with it. We have plays that are designed to, everybody does, that have options on them, and you try to put the defense in the worst possible spot depending on how they show up, right?
Buck's been reported to be in a leading candidate, I'll call it, as far for the BC Lions head coaching job, and I'm just wondering if you've given any thought to who might be next in line for that job.
Yeah, every year, because Buck gets talked about to be a head coach every year, so every year you think about it, right? Mm-hmm. This year's no different. Buck absolutely could be a head coach in this league.
Okay, and I'm just wondering if, in the event that he wasn't to get that job, do you think that there would be any changes to be made at his position? Not at all.
Not a chance.
Thank you.
Mike, you say you do it all over again. Do you think it'd be different if you did it all over again? Like the results?
On what I would do?
No. Like
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, you say you do it all over again. You give the ball back to Zach. You dial up the deep passes. Like, do you think?
I didn't say I'd do it all over. I said I would use a challenge flag earlier. I'd call a timeout differently. I would do
No, but specifically
certain
to
things.
Zach, specifically to the Zach decision.
Yeah.
You said you'd do it all over again. I'm asking if you think if you did it all over again, you'd get different results than what you saw play out on the field.
Yeah, you're asking me to speculate on something. That didn't happen that way.
Okay.
Do I wish it would happen differently? Yeah, everybody wants the outcome to be different, right? Putting Zach back in the game, I told you, I put him in a bad spot, but he's the leader of our team, and he's a fiery competitor, and you believe in him.
Okay, so on that note, Ryan Dinwiddie said after the game that he felt that the moment that his team won was the moment he started watching Zach Collaros throw. You had players on the sideline clearly looking at Zach like, are you okay? You had Zach in the huddle telling his own players that he wouldn't be able to push the ball downfield, that they'd have to come back to him.
Yeah, coming back to the football is something that we work on every single day in practice, so, that's nothing new. You tell the receivers that all the time.
Okay, let me ask you differently then. You say you put him in a tough situation. Do you
Yep.
understand the injury he had, A, the severity, and B, the limitations that he had from the injury?
Yep, I would say so.
What
Yep.
was your understanding of the injury, the severity, and the limitations?
Yep. Cut open, 4 stitches, numbed, tip of the finger, put on the glove to get some more grip. Saw him delivering the ball on the sideline. And then you see him deliver a couple balls out there, and some of them are pretty damn good, right? And the awareness of Zach to say to the receivers, hey, work a little harder for me, I think it's natural, and it's what should be said, right? I think they already know that, right?
You say you wanted to give Zach every opportunity to lead this team. What exactly was the opportunity that you feel like you were giving him in that moment?
Well, he didn't say he couldn't, right? So, like he said, that internal struggle, nobody wants to, on that stage, nobody wants to take themselves out. I think outcome-based, there's a chance that you're going to feel bad no matter what, right? If you pull yourself and you win, I think you feel pretty good, and you're like, okay, I made the right decision. If you pull yourself and we lose, you feel crappy. If you play and we lose, you feel crappy. If you play and we win, we feel good, right? So it's all out, like those, looking back on it, it's all outcome-based, right? I think what's important is the information we had at the time and the decision we make at the time, right? I feel good about putting Zach Collaros, our leader, back in the game, even though I'm putting him back in a tougher situation than when he left the game.
Why did you not feel comfortable leaning on your MOP for any of the stretches when you took out Zach and put Terry Wilson in at the end when you were only down 8 points and you had a quarterback whose finger was numb and stitched? At one point, was
Yeah,
it?
I mean, you put Terry in and they load the box. They have 10 guys in the box, right? Like the play gets changed because of the structure of the defense. If I was the defensive coach, as soon as you put a backup quarterback in, we're loading the box because you're going to hand it to Brady, right? We have Kenny open in the end zone, and you just miss. And then we got Carrick open in the end zone, and it doesn't work out either. So, I mean, I don't think you can question that if you look at the structure of the defense, and based on giving an opportunity, the way the offense is structured is to always try and put the defense at a disadvantage. I think we managed to do that. Did those plays work out? No, we managed a field goal, not a touchdown, but I think there were touchdowns there.
Speaking of Terry, Terry Wilson, obviously you liked him. He attempted one pass all season. You had Jake Dolegal, who started multiple games.
Yeah.
What was it about Terry Wilson that you felt gave you the best opportunity in that situation?
Well, I think he deserved it there. We brought Jake in for a reason, right? Because he could learn the playbook extremely fast compared to a rookie or bringing back somebody back from training camp. So we knew that being the pro that he was, he could learn the playbook very quickly. And he's a good insurance policy, but we also liked what Terry was doing. I mean, he was getting better and better all the time. He was seeing it in practice. He delivers the ball real well. I mean, that's ball he throws, it ends up being a PI. It's a tight window, and it's a very good ball. And, I mean, he did in my mind, also deliver another pass that could be a touchdown, right?
This last one for me. I'm wondering what you saw from Zach on the sidelines when he came back. What you and Buck, I guess, saw, because I don't think we'll get a chance to speak to Buck. What you thought that, Zach was comfortable airing the ball out right away and not maybe doing intermediate passes. And I'm wondering what you thought the overall evaluation of Buck's performance as OC in that game was.
The Zach question first. You just believe in the guy wholeheartedly. I mean, you look what he's done for us for the last X number of years, 5, 6, whatever it is, years, minus a COVID year. And all he's done is win for us and compete and lead. He deserves that opportunity, absolutely. Buck had the guys extremely well prepared. There's not anything that Toronto did that we hadn't seen. We handled it well. We limited the pressures compared to other games. I thought it was an excellent game plan. I thought the guys were really well prepared, and I'm never going to question the play calling. I think what's going on here is we're questioning. We're trying to find blame and fault when that's nowhere in our DNA of how we built this 8, 9, 10 years ago. And we're starting to try and find all these answers and question all these people that were 0-4 and 2-6 and then 10-1. And we didn't play our best game. All of us as a team. We didn't do our best in the Grey Cup. All right? But I don't think that should lead to all the questioning going on to a group that went 0-4, 2-6, 10-1 run to get to their 5th straight Grey Cup. All right? These are the same guys. This is the same group. All right? And I think you guys are, everybody, I mean, even the team, for a moment in its rawness of a loss, is searching for answers. We're the same group. We're the same group that got there, that went on a phenomenal run after a bad start, and a bad start for a lot of reasons that we overcame. I don't question any of it. I look for answers too. I watch the film over and over and over again and look to already make notes on how we're going to be better, how we're going to get back there again, right, for the first time.
Osh, the illegal interference call that cost you guys the ball, is that a rule that maybe needs to be changed after a block punt?
I would say, as I've looked at it and thought about it, I'd say no. Willie got that pick 2 plays later. It was a sensational pick. What it cost us was a bit of time. But you think of the other possible outcomes. If the opposition manages to pick up the ball and run for the first down, if they manage to pick up the ball and punt it. So there's a lot of different variables or outcomes that could come from them not being interfered with and pick up the ball, right? So, yeah, I think the easy answer for me is to say, yeah, change the rule. I don't think that's the right thing to do.
So even though, and I'm not suggesting that had that gone differently, that was what ended up costing you the game. I just mean in general, like moving forward in the CFL. So if a team is 3rd and 19, they lose 19 yards on a block punt, they should still have a first down if they're interfered.
They should have the opportunity to field the ball cleanly and make the next decision. That's what I said.
Okay.
They should have the opportunity. If they're not given that opportunity through an illegal act, through a penalty, well then that's the outcome of the penalty, right? My job is to coach it better.
Okay, no, that's fair. It looked like when DeJean Brissett caught his touchdown pass from Nick Arbuckle, you guys only had 11 players.
Yep.
How does that happen in a Grey Cup?
The wrong guy gets hurt. The substitution is off. They're at the far end. I don't get the count over the headset as quickly as I probably need to. We can't count. As I'm seeing a guy come off, that's the right time for that timeout that I should have used. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. And that's completely on me. I should just see that there's some confusion with a substitution, and the easy thing, especially when they're in the red zone, is I should just stop it. Let's get set up and live to play another day. Hold them to a field goal or take the ball away. Hold them to a single and a miss, whatever it is, 0-1-3. And live to play another day.
Last one from me. Your previous contracts here in Winnipeg, you've always gone till they've expired to re-up. Is there any possibility that you'll change that pattern this offseason as you head into the last year of a deal, or do you anticipate coaching through 2025 on the last year of a deal and re-upping after that as you've always done?
Yeah, I've not even put 1 ounce of thought into that.
We talked about Zach's internal struggle, how he put that to us the other day. Did you have a bit of an internal struggle too, or was it an easy decision for you?
I didn't.
No.
And you know your leaders.
I'm not surprised.
You know your leaders. You know, I've seen the greatness guys achieve if we let them. I've seen what happens over time, especially as football has gone the way it's gone, how we refuse to let players be great in big moments. I go back to Strevy and just given the opportunity to strap it up and go, and what that does for a team. I am a firm believer that we have to let our leaders be great. And not even our leaders, we have to let players, give them the opportunity to be great.
When you talked about the lack of running plays called, you referred to some things earlier in the game, but let's focus on
I didn't say a
late.
lack of running plays called. I didn't say a lack of
When you
running
were
plays.
asked about the lack of
Oh,
running plays called,
I thought you said when you said.
No,
Okay.
you explained why, because the man
Yep.
in the box and calls
Yep.
were changed.
Yep.
So let's focus more late third and early fourth. In the past, have you not had success running the ball when the other team knew you were going to run the ball down the field to seal a win?
Yeah, we hadn't really had success against Toronto like that,
No? Okay.
right? So we had a very good game plan. I mean, we only had, by my counts, we only had 6 plays in the third quarter, right? So we need to stay on the field. We need to convert. We had some passes that they defended extremely well. Some of those passes the week before we caught. And no matter how hard the defense hit us, whatever, we end up hanging on. This time they got their hands on a ball, knocked it out, took the guy to the ground, got the ball out late, you know. I'm sure Zach said it too, is, you know, we need more plays. We need to stay on the field. We didn't convert well in second and long. That would have given us more plays, especially in that quarter. And then a lot of plays in the fourth quarter are generated at the end. And we had 20-something plays in the fourth, and that was hurry-up offense and down a bunch already. And
Well, there's 6 in the third.
I believe it was 6.
How many were runs?
At least, I would say at least 2.
Yeah, okay. Your own guys, though, like Stanley Bryant, very surprised and disappointed. He said that they weren't called upon to run.
Yeah. I think once again in that emotional aftermath, I think it's
This was 2
guys
days
are
later.
yeah. That's
It still is, I know.
yeah. When you lose a Grey Cup, it's not a day or hour or, you know, flushing it takes 6 months until you show up at training camp the next year, which is extremely difficult.
Yeah.
Obviously 6 months, but I think you catch guys in you know, a bad state, and you know, until they watch the film or get all the answers, you know, imagine it feels like that for them.
And the other thing is communication. Stanley said no, he would never go and ask the coaches why. Brady thought he's earned the right to have an explanation as to why, but he hadn't done that yet. I'm just wondering how that works. The football culture, does it kind of dissuade even questioning a coach's call, or you know?
No,
you would
not
think
at
you guys
all.
would talk that all out by now.
Yeah, I think we have pretty damn good player participation
Thought so.
in down here. Obviously, my door is always open. But I also think that, once again, if guys will take the time to eventually, maybe not right away. Every guy's different. Some guys want to get this in the can right off the bat, right? Some guys wait till partway through the off season. Some guys never watch it. I also think it's difficult because of the moment. It's hard to really go back and figure out what went wrong. That's why we have post-game meetings and we show them the reasons why we win and the reasons why we lose on a weekly basis. Well, this is the one time we don't, right? We don't gather and watch this film together. And I imagine as guys go through it, they'll get more answers and they'll, but they can all ask whatever they want. It's, sometimes, everybody down here has to be prepared for the answers.
Sure.
Right.
Coaches and players.
Coaches and players.
Yeah.
Yeah. As I said, as a team, as an entire team, we didn't have our best game. We didn't lack effort. We didn't lack desire. We didn't have our best game as an entire team. 3 phases, coaches, everybody. Me especially.
Have you already given a team permission to speak with Buck? About
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Brady also said that he thought he'd earned the right, like Paul said, to get some answers, and he said he was going to talk to some coaches. So have you had your exit meeting with him and discussed that with him?
I have not seen him.
Okay. What is?
I expect to, though. You generally see everybody. Some guys are already gone home, but I've gone through, I don't know, of the 70, probably seen 50 plus guys. Yeah.
And what is the mood that you're sensing from them? Is it different than the last couple years?
There's obviously a great deal of disappointment. But the conversations usually turn to, the locker room, the group of guys, the experiences. The young guys all are, talking about the experiences they had, and to me, it's the usual stuff. It's the stuff that locker room's created, that you keep hearing over and over again for years. That has not changed.
When you look at your free agent list, you signed Sergio. How confident are you, and do you want to be able to bring back most of the core?
Yeah, I think our history shows us that we always try to sign our guys back first, right? Not everybody will be back. Not everybody wants to be back. But there's going to be a large core of guys that want to be back in that locker room and want to compete and want to play hard for each other and want to win games. So, yeah, I imagine we're going to sign a lot of them back.
Mike, what lessons do you personally take away from this entire season, the start of the season through, a championship game? Maybe you haven't, fully fleshed it all out in your mind, but, some of those areas that maybe you've had takeaways from this year, areas that you've gleaned from.
I don't know. I think over the course of time, the course of a bunch of years, we've learned a lot of these lessons already, and you're just revisiting them, right? It's been talked about quite a bit, and this is not to be self-serving, but I just like the way our guys stuck to it, through a rough first part. And everybody's got to look at how they prepared for the season and how they came in, and they all have to understand the reasons why we ended up where we were at the beginning, and they all have to appreciate what we did down that run to get back into first place and host a playoff game, a division final, right? That's all good stuff, But I don't think these are new lessons. Every single year as a staff, hopefully as players too, you take a look again at your past season and off season, and you validate what you did to come in, and you validate what you did during the season. And as coaches, we validate our plan. We watch every play from the season over again. We categorize them as efficient or inefficient, or we like what we're doing here or not. We make some changes. We work on the roster. You know, that's stuff that's been ongoing for a decade.
I guess I was asking specific to this year. Are there any new lessons or new things that maybe you
Yeah,
personally gleaned?
like I said, I just think that these are lessons we've probably gone through before, and it's a reminder of what we learned before. And obviously, if we, besides the Grey Cup game, the season, I think what we learned was pretty damn good for us, right? For the young guys. The vets have been through that stuff before. Maybe not starting 0-4, but we've been through losses. We've been through tough losses where we've made mistakes and where we need to be better. I don't know that there's a lot of new to that.
How about from the Grey Cup game itself? With it being
Yeah,
in itself, it's one game. If you
Yeah.
can take something from that one game.
I mean, that outcome is really not pleasing, and we just all have to choose to be better to avoid that again, right? And we'll figure it out. Well, the guy, like I said, certain guys will look at it, and they'll look at what they need to do differently, and we'll evaluate that as a staff and see what we want to continue with and see what we don't want to continue with, you know?
Coach, you had mentioned earlier that about how you guys have the same group. You guys have had that same group. And last week, and I'm going to be paraphrasing a little bit, but last week you had talked about how, for example, Nick Arbuckle, it doesn't change what you guys do. You guys stick to your process. You guys are going to continue to get ready to win the football game the way you know how to do it. Fans, though, can you help me explain to fans who are maybe wondering how you guys hit the wall at the very end for 3 years in a row? Does that process need to change, I'm wondering, going forward, or
I think
how much does it need to change?
It's hard to, I don't think the process needs to change. It's what's got us. We always refine, right? But our core values are our core values. That's not going to change. I mean, it'd change if you have a different head coach, right? They come in with a different set of values, how they think a team needs to work, right? That's how that would change. So, sorry, your question again. Oh, the fans. So, down here, we try not to compound it. I think post-game, guys compound it and say the third of 3. We choose not to when we calm down and really take a deeper dive into something like this. But, yep, lost by a point, lost by 4. This one doesn't look like that at all. This one looks different. But the prep week, the coaches' prep, the way the players were prepared, I don't know that you would change any of it. I thought it was all pretty damn good, right? The outcome isn't what we wanted, and it looks way different than the previous 2, but for different reasons, you know?
Sorry.
Last one, please. Then I will ask you, Sergio, you re-signed Sergio. People see his percentage under 80%.
Yeah.
In a league where multiple guys are up over 93.
Yeah, and he's with a guy a hair under 80%, who's an 85% kicker in his lifetime with the Bombers, I guess, or whatever it is, career, or with us, for sure, 85%. And without having any stats in front of me, which you might have, no kicker's been trotted out over 50 more than Sergio in the course of one season. So we have, I almost let out an expletive there, but we have a pile of confidence in Sergio. I'm very happy for him and his family. I'm very happy for the team that he's re-signed. And We'll see if we don't trot him out from that distance more often next year. We'll see. He's a guy who everybody on the team has confidence in. Yeah.
Yeah, I think in the last 20 years, it's the largest average attempt in the CFL.
Yep. So with that, the percentage comes down slightly, but nobody else is doing that. I'm not saying that's the reason to do it. The reason to do it is because the way he prepares, the confidence you have in him, and the way he delivers quite often.